the newly formed indivisible group in Macomb County, and we have grown to just over 500 members in the last 13 weeks. We are outraged by what's happening in our country and the assault on our democracy, and that is why we've decided to act. In those 13 weeks, we visited John James' office, and we got the police called on us. Some troublemakers out there. We visited Gary Peters' office. We helped organize a Medicaid press conference where 60 people showed up. We organized the Where's John James protest where we had 300 attendees. And we helped organize the April 5th hands-off protest in Detroit for over 6,000 attendees. And now we're hosting this town hall. We will fight hard for our communities, and we will do everything in our power to stop the cuts to Medicaid, SNAP, and to protect the families and individuals in Macomb County. We've invited John James, as the rest of our speakers have said, to be here, but where is he? Exactly. He has a reputation for not showing up for his constituents, so we didn't expect him to show up. So we came prepared, and we are honored to have a special guest with us tonight to inform you about what's actually happening in Congress and to answer your questions. Representative Rashida Tlaib spent 6 years in the Michigan legislature, and she's in her 7th year in Congress. She is the most proud to have grown up in a working-class family in Southwest Detroit. She is the eldest of 14 and the proud mom of 2 boys. Representative Tlaib is one of only 69 members of Congress who does not take corporate PAC money. Exactly. And she is guided by the belief that everyone, not just the wealthy and privileged, deserves access to opportunity and a better quality of life. Rashida Tlaib has dedicated her life to amplifying and addressing the concerns of everyday people in her district across Michigan and around the country. And so I have for you Representative Tlaib.
Now, you all are amazing. You know, fighting fascism takes 24/7, and it comes together, resistance, it builds courage and inspires again this moment right now that we will not stand still and be paralyzed with the amount of fear and anxiety that many of you have. You're showing up, you're fighting back, and you're saying to the person that you elected or was elected for your community, again, you should show up. You have questions to be able, that need answers. And so I'm really proud. When I met Katrina, we were just in, I saw that there was a protest in front of Congressman John James' district office, and I just showed up. I didn't tell everybody I was coming because I needed to do it too. Because there's 3 or 4 Republicans that we need. Only 3 or 4. And if Michigan could do something, we can organize our backyard to deliver at least one, and that could be Congressman John James. So thank you all again for your incredible work. In the 12th Congressional District, one of the things we did yesterday, we had a Resist Together town hall and training because folks are showing up, and I want you all to be equipped, right? But also to understand what the real impact is of $880 billion cut to your community. So I'm going to show you, again, in numbers, but behind every number is a parent with a child that relies on Medicaid, is a mother who relies on prenatal and postpartum care, all of that. It is a person that relies on long-term care to be covered by Medicaid. So just remember with these numbers. So it is important to understand, again, what the impact is in the 10th Congressional District. So we know that tens of millions of Americans. You should know, as a founder of the Congressional Mamas Caucus, over 40% of births around the country depend on Medicaid. Yes. But I want you to see this. This is your congressional district. This is your backyard. Look how many individuals, 23% of Congressman John James' district relies on Medicaid. 23%. 69,000 of them are children, including 17,000 children who have disabilities or living with disabilities. Yep, exactly. And as a person that is a mom with an autistic child, I know how important it is for the wraparound programs and services. And let's be honest, Medicaid is that Band-Aid to sick care in our country. We don't have health care, we have sick care. It's driven by profit. And one thing that Medicaid has done, though, because it's not a choice, it's a life-saving tool that has provided care for our families. 1,800 births per year in the congressional district. Again, that depends on the postnatal, prenatal. And we're just finishing up Black Maternal Health Week. Again, Michigan is one of the worst in the country when it comes to Black maternal health. 17,000 seniors, including over 1,000, receive care through Medicaid, long-term care. Next slide. I want you to know, again, about 2022, again, these numbers might not be fully updated, but I want you to see. Now, you see this number, you're like, wow, but that's your money. Wow. This is your money. Don't let them think that it's something that, this is the bare minimum of what they can do while they have big pharma and the health industry, again, being driven by profit. Right. We're subsidizing that with this care. It is important for you, again, to see, again, what the importance here of is that we're covering. This is something that would devastate a family. I've seen it. I've seen the people on private health care have to put a mortgage on their home or file bankruptcy because of medical debt. Next slide. Again, this is important for you to know that in the 10th Congressional District, 55,000 adults gained coverage through the expansion. Again, how many of you are on Affordable Care Act? The budget proposal, I am too. I know I'm not one of the millionaires that is in Congress. But one of the things to know is the data shows that it will be a 50%, 40 to 50% increase, Affordable Care Act. That's about $630 per year addition of what you already pay. With the $880 million they're putting in there. Again, that's nearly $1 trillion. Again, it's really important. Next one. And I know Medicaid, what's important, again, for the economy and for you all to see, this is important, but hospitals, clinics, pharmacies, other here in the district among areas that are the largest employers that have deep economic ties to Medicaid. That's why you see Corwell and others. Now, again, they need to be checked too. I'm going to be on record of that. No, they do, because they have shareholders. Hospitals have shareholders now. Even though I have 501c3 status. Again, you have sick care in our country, not health care. So Medicaid is critical for the 10th Congressional District. So I want to talk about this a little bit, and this is something I talked to my residents yesterday. We had over 400 people show up to our town hall. And one of the things that I explained to folks is you're going to hear a lot of my colleagues say that the $880 billion. I had one colleague literally put it up and go, the word Medicaid is not in the proposal. Oh my God. He's gaslighting all of you, the fair people. Yeah, it's not in there. It's true. But Energy and Commerce Committee oversees Medicare, Medicaid, Affordable Care Act. That's where it is. There's no way you're going to cut nearly $1 trillion without touching Medicaid. There's no way. Know that Protect Our Care, national organization that is fighting on this front, is spending $10 million just on educational ads, showing people. There's a colleague in California, a Republican colleague, 62% of his constituents rely on Medicaid. So this is something that's nonpartisan. This impacts all of us, no matter your political affiliation. Next slide. Now, this is important. Why are they doing this? Other than it's cool. They're doing this because they want to do $4.5 trillion, not millions, not billions, trillions dollars in tax. It's in there. Not made up. I mean, this is congressional budget. Everybody will show you. It's in there. Next slide. Next slide. Well, they all know that. So I want to show you all that. I want to show you all this because this is why I just want you to see this. Look at this. So this is the Trump tax plan from before, the proposal from before. This is what they want to expand on. This is currently, look at this. They pay nothing. No, how many of you all pay federal tax? No, really, how many? All of us. We pay some sort of it. They pay no federal income tax. None of these folks. While DT increases our rate. You know? Yeah, I know. Next slide. It keeps going, y'all. It doesn't stop. 25 corporations, states. I hate the word state, Layla. We got to talk. $67 billion from. Look at this. These folks benefited. Yes. I know that he doesn't. I actually said that when he did the joint address. So next slide, I want folks to keep. So what can you do? Before we go into this, I think it's really important to know that, you know, many of my colleagues, Republican, even Democrats, it's very hard sometimes for them to be fully frank with everyone about the fact that, again, you're talking about healthcare, you're talking about the Department of Education, you're talking about, today I just was at Earth Day with EPA workers and everyone, is sometimes you're going to see folks say, oh, they're not cutting that, but they're cutting the federal workforce that runs the program. So pay attention to that. They may not, oh, we're not touching Social Security, but then they're cutting 50% of the Social Security Administration staff. So when you call, it's delayed. For instance, VA, I have the John Bingle VA, where there's a lot of John Bingle VA hospital, and many of my folks go to that hospital specifically. And I can tell you, I have a gentleman, a veteran, outpatient surgery, outpatient care. They called him because they got rid of all the surgical tech folks. He's waiting another 3 months before he can come. It's not like people can stop being sick. It's not like people can stop, again, whatever the issues and challenges they have. And again, these are promises we made to our constituents that we would have their back. And this is our money. Like, I hate that we don't see it that way, but it is ours. If there's anything that I think the American people want us to support, is making sure, again, nobody plans to get sick. Nobody plans to have a disability. Nobody plans to come from serving our country with, you know, exposure to toxins. Nobody plans any of that. But they come back and we make a promise that we take care of each other. And again, this is, them breaking that promise. What can you do? There's a lot you can do. One, you showed up. Thank you for that. You know, this is overwhelming because it's hard to believe it's only been, 12, 13 weeks of this. I know. It's so hard to believe, but this is a lot in 13 weeks. But one thing we know is we need 3 to 4 Republicans. What can we do? We can organize our backyard. That's why I'm here. I said, if there's one thing Michigan can do is get one of the Republicans to create that wall that is needed. The hope that I have is in the Senate, when that budget proposal passed out of the House, and it went to the Senate. Again, one of the Missouri senators who I don't even I was surprised he was doing it. He's from Missouri, and he introduced an amendment. Almost, I know, Jeff, I try not to put their name out there. So, because he did say something else. So one of the things to know is, even when he offered that, I was like, this is great. We're gonna be able to take this in the Senate. And they almost got there. I think it only we lost that amendment and it was like a hands-off Medicaid. Don't touch Medicaid. It was a beautiful amendment, y'all. And in there, again, it was to protect Medicaid, and we did almost get there. I think Susan Collins and some other folks supported it. And unfortunately, I think we were 1 or 2 votes difference, away from making that happen. So then it comes back to the House. I was there. We were supposed to vote on it on a Wednesday or Thursday. It was a Wednesday. That we waited for 2.5 hours on the floor, and I said, wow, they must not have the votes. This is great. I know, I was excited. And then I was like, oh, they don't have the votes. They don't have the votes. I don't know what happened overnight. You know, you've probably seen on the news, I'm sure people got called into the principal's office, the fascist office. And I can tell you what happened, I think, is people change their minds. Because I'll tell you, people were getting quoted publicly. I didn't vote for that. No way. Heck no. And then all of a sudden they pulled it up that following Thursday. And I was like, Thursday, but it only got passed from 214 to 216, 2 vote difference. We're almost there, y'all. We're almost there. And if we can, again, this is a person, your member of Congress wants to run for governor. No. This is Medicaid, again, is impacting Michigan folks from all over. And so I reiterate to you all, if there's something we can do, we have control over, is to organize, and the Macomb County, all of you in the 10th Congressional District can deliver one Republican. You are getting closer in saving our country. So know you can join organizations and take direct action. These are some of the three. I know there's some tabling out there. Get active, join them. One of the things you should know, last night, every single one of my residents left. We had 200 packets of postcards that had specific data from Macomb County residents that impacted by Medicaid. So I said, let's do neighbor-to-neighbor cards. So you might get a card from one of my constituents who's going to send you a card saying, please call John James' office because my congresswoman is voting no. Yours continues. Again, there it is right there. Continues. This postcard is coming through. We're targeting specifically and reaching out specifically to residents that may not know that Congressman James, and we have some that still don't know, that he is voting not once, twice, he voted now 3 times to cut Medicaid. So again, this is very, very important that we do that. These are some of the other organizations. Again, some of them are out here supporting. These are ways that you can get involved, reach out and figure out ways, again, how you can get connected. What I find is when you all do it as a collective, it's like a bullhorn. It's so much louder, so much more effective and powerful. I want you to talk to 3 people. I learned, look, I'm the eldest of 14. We got to have somewhat of a voting block in my community, in my family. But I'm the one. I do the place. I'm the one who says, hey, yo, this is what's happening. Okay, what do you want me to do, Rashida? But you know of 3 people. You know if you call them. Not me, you. You know they'll do it. You know someone in the 10th Congressional District that if you just kind of push them, here's the number, call, show up. Again, this is about saving our country and pushing back against fascism and cruelty and lawlessness. And I know that people are waiting to be asked sometimes. They want to help, but you can give them a pathway. I watch this, and my team knows this. I would say, well, bring somebody with you, and they come, and they get addicted. They want to come over and over again. How many of you experienced that? I did. They'll come over and over again, and it's great because they feel like they are making a huge difference, so you can do that. Can I think? Yep, there he is. Okay, before I go, I can tell you this is my, the various town halls. We do community conversations throughout the 12th Congressional District. I've never had this many residents get up in tears, full of so much fear and anxiety. I feel it too. I just want you to know, don't let them paralyze you. I know there's going to be moments that you need to rest, but also bring joy into it. Put music into it, joy, march, make it, because joy is resistance too. Yeah. And so make sure that you're taking care of yourself. It is. I love that you guys are having so much fun with the signs. They're hilarious. I mean, even though your dogs have signs. So it's just amazing, but this is the way to do it. But also take care of yourself. Show up for each other, but take care of each other. But also don't let them paralyze us. That's exactly what they want us to do. They want us to be paralyzed, fear, don't move, don't do anything. And remember this. You guys know, I come from an incredibly, very beautiful, 12th Congressional District. I grew up in Wayne County. And sometimes I find that, Black Pastor told me this. I find that sometimes we're disconnected, and they built these institutions of disconnected. Our country is not divided. We are disconnected, right? We're not divided. We're disconnected. Connect with each other. Again, I can tell you, every single one of you have stories you can share with other mothers, other folks that are taking care of their loved ones, seasoned residents. All of us have these stories that are impactful. That's how we connect with each other, because the division that they're trying to create by targeting certain people and so forth, know it's a slippery slope. We're always understanding, I do, that when somebody's due process constitutional rights, when somebody's care is cut, they always end up coming to our backyard. It never changes. Look at our history. It always ends up in our backyard. I say this about auto insurance, don't get me started, where everybody thought that's not our issue. Well, guess what? Now 90% of zip codes in the state of Michigan have unaffordable auto insurance, right? So don't let them expand and grow in this. You have to fight back together and show up together. I will leave you with this. Community mothers taught me this. you know, I remember like feeling, you know, moments of, because I grew up in a very, very polluted community. I always thought, wow, Marathon and USC, everybody's going to continue to pollute our community. It always smelled like rotten eggs growing up. I just thought, you know, this is awful. You know, I grew up 4 blocks north of Delray neighborhood. Yeah. And community mothers remind me that we don't get transformative change because of who's in the White House or who's in Congress. We didn't get the Civil Rights Act because the President of the United States woke up one day and said, wow, that's a really good idea. Or we didn't get the right to organize unions because somebody in Congress said, let me introduce this bill, it's a great idea. It's when people organize in the streets and they demanded that change. You all have that power to move an institution like Congress that is broken. I'm there. I have a front row seat to it. People have access to them that will never ever, I mean, we constantly are trying to compete with it, right? I mean, look how many of them take corporate PAC money. They take money from the same people that are hurting their constituents. They are choosing the billionaire class, giving those tax breaks, making us believe that it's about jobs, when at the end, it isn't. It's about greed, corporate greed. You all have the power to move this institution and move your member of Congress. And again, it inspires me to see this room full. This is how we, again, fight against this fascist regime that is there. And again, these are many people in my community who have really thought, God, I didn't know it was going to be this bad. I don't shame or blame. I said, you ready to join us in this fight? And they will join us. Thank you all so much. Thank you. I really appreciate it.